I want to see the switches, especially, by the way, like, it's a shame we're not seeing the C9 Kongji roster because they were the sort of first team to switch to a more controlling composition for the last stage of this particular map. Something that people were like, why are you switching? Why are you giving up ultimate percentage, etc.? But they did it and it worked well. This defense from the London Spitfire is kind of classic, you know, with the with the Mercy thrown in there. But you've got the Ana for the high ground. Safety's going to be there. Going to combine nicely with Hureg. Again, using the high ground to get a lot of damage done for very little reprisal.
I was going to say, this is the one map yesterday, at least on point A, when you have to unlock the payload, where we saw a lot of Ana play. She's able to heal at range, obviously. You know, her bio nade can do a ton of positives for your team, really hurt the other, you know, denying a lot of healing. As it'll be the London Spitfire here on defense, the Los Angeles Gladiators on offense here. It'll be Surefour running the Pharah. Looks like they're going to run with a triple DPS here.
Yeah, so attacking Pharah on this map is a little bit situational. It doesn't always work. They're playing into a 76, but he's being mercy healed, but this can't help. And there's Shaz going in. Shaz, by the way, on this Genji, that's super interesting. It's a triple DPS, and Shaz finds all the kills. Great opening by Remix there. Spreads early damage. And a player, I've never seen Shaz play Genji, by the way, ever.
I've only seen him play supports, so something interesting coming out here during the preseason. Shaz, he's going to be playing the Genji. We can take a look at this from his POV. The damage coming down from Remix and Surefour, and he just dashes on through players.
There
nice
is
there
nothing there that indicates much of a degree of mechanical intensity. Dash, dash, dash. Every time Shaz was able to get himself...
I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, he was able to get himself an elimination every time, so that's sick. But again, what a huge opening there from Remix. Gets the early damage down.
And he doesn't even play for the Dragon Blade, right? He immediately switches off to Zen. He's like 50% of the way there. He's feeling himself a little bit, not that much to play it in this stage of the map.
Oh, it's a bit more open as well. It can be tough for Genji to try and find those engages. The high ground is highly contested, and generally the defenders have a better access to it, so it's fair enough. But yeah, back to the Zenyatta for this stage, which I think is really good here. Surefour finds profit early on though, and that's going to be most of the spearhead for London Spitfire now being taken out of the picture. This might be resulting in a snowball effect for the Gladiators. They're getting more kills, they're gaining more advantage, they're staggering the Spitfire, they're gaining ultimate percentage, and all in all, they're giving themselves more power in their arsenal. Wu Yao does get desuited. He will be chased to a degree, but not entirely here.
Yeah, they get him weak. They don't want to kill him. Then he comes back in the Mac. Gonna leave him in Baby Diva for him, as it looks like the Spitfire are backed out here. They're gonna give up point B as well.
They can't contest it without a Diva. They need both tanks. This is excellent stuff from the Gladiators here. But Remix does have a pulse bomb delivered. That's the way you kind of probably wouldn't want it. Stuck straight to him, he couldn't get away. And now Wu Yao's gonna get rezzed up. So there is a player advantage here for the Spitfire.
Both teams with both support ults here, though. It'll be the attack fires that comes in from Hureg, and the Gladiators, they back all the way out. We saw them do this on Junkertown very well. Their disengages have been phenomenal, and now they're going to come back on the offensive.
Oh, that's going to hurt. Closer falls there to the Deadeye. The Transcendent Surefour doesn't really care about that. He was getting healed enough at the same time, and now the Gunslinger is going to make his way forward. He's actually looking for targets, but he realizes that most of his teammates have dispatched the Spitfire. It was Shaz there to find Gesture, the final kill of that fight. And a payload rolls on. Crucially, pulse bomb there for Ratchet. There's a primal raid for Remix to stall or to create disruption, as the Spitfire are going to try and put something together to stop this payload. 5 minutes on the clock, Matt. This is blistering pace from the Gladiator.
Yeah, Gesture has his primal rage. Maybe he can get on the cart. He's going to dive in deep. He's getting a lot of pressure. He's going to be forced to pop primal. The Discord Orb on Gesture. They're going to be able to deal with him quick. Let's see how the Gladiators take advantage of that.
Pulse bomb for Ratchet here. Self-destruct does get put out, and that's not good enough. Most of their supports. If you drop a self-destruct close to that underpass, it's actually very, very hard to break line of sight, especially if you're a Zenyatta with limited mobility. You can't get away from that.
Yeah, the Zen was just kind of trapped in that awkward area where he's not able to get back towards that mega health pack and can't get around the corner underneath the bridge. Chaz and Big Goose both fall there. That is a huge self-destruct from Huyao.
Now the Spitfire are going to play far forward than usual. But so watch where he puts this one, right? He realizes where the setup of the Gladiators is now. You need to get out and around the corner. That is almost perfect placement. To be fair, I think Big Goose was the one that dropped there. He maybe should have been able to get away from that one, but it was hard to predict the trajectory of the bomb when it came in.
It's a few ults on the board here for the Gladiators. They're going to have the Transcendence. Big Goose going to get close towards a Valkyrie. It'll be led by the self-destruct, though. It's 2 kills, 1 from Shaz on a Prophet. Surefour going to take out Huyao, as Bishu is going to eliminate Gesture. So Hurek does have that Deadeye. If you pop it here, maybe try and slow the payload down a little bit, but it's going to be Remix using the Primal Rage, knocking him back into the spawn.
Yep, Shortfall getting rezzed up as well, so they're going to keep the momentum going. The numbers are going to be there. Shaz comes forward. Another mistake there. There was an opportunity for a little bit of stall from the London Spitfire with the Gladiators. That's very impressive stuff from them to get the map done in such a quick time. It all started from that dive, inexorable. In fact, the Spitfire didn't even have an opportunity to respond. Remix jumps in up on that high ground. Shaz dashing in. 3 DPS players on the side of Gladiators to open up. And then Shaz, being the flexible player that he was, heads over to a support role and continues to make his presence felt from the back line.
And we didn't see it on Ilios from the Gladiators, but you saw there some phenomenal teamwork. You know, when the attack visor comes in from Hureg, and they're starting to push on in right after the Gladiators take point B, and the cart's kind of going through that underpass. It's a beautiful disengage from the Gladiators. As soon as that attack visor was wearing off, they used their Transcendence, they pushed on through, they got the picks they needed. Now that fight doesn't really lead them all the way to the end, but it gets that payload through that, you know, underpass where we see a lot of teams get stuck.
Against a team who's proficient at diving, the first point of Numbani is very hard to hold. We just saw a new flavor, a new color from the Los Angeles Gladiators in Shaz going towards that 3rd DPS role. That was fun, and it worked. But for the Spitfire now, again, knowing what they're up against and knowing how quickly the Gladiators were able to finish the map in general, they now need to be incredibly expedient on their attack as well. They probably need a Genji, they need a lot of high ground access, and they need some fire in the belly and a bit of aggression towards that high ground to make sure they can clean the Gladiators off in the same way that was done to them.
And I think this is an opportunity for the Gladiators to try something different on defense. You see Shaz currently on the Sombra. Big Goose on the Lucio. We'll see if, you know, this is the hero composition they go with. And playing a little bit forward right now. I'm interested to see what they try and do. Do they try and like get them coming out of the spawns? It's risky. It's risky, but...
So what they're going to try and do, this is a good position to actually allow you to get up around the enemy team. You wait for the enemy team to advance towards the second bus, and then you go through that doorway and just jump on their back line. Hopefully the Lucio's there to help you get out or give you a bit of healing in a pinch. Spitfire have no idea what's going on. They don't know who's behind them, and the Gladiators just appear. It's a blaze of glory, but are they finding the damage? Hurek gets taken down. Yes, it's worked. Hagapun also falls. Prophet frantically trying to throw some shurikens in any which direction, but the Gladiators, they managed to pull one over on the Spitfire, and even getting out relatively scot-free. Wuyal and Gesture now just trying to stay alive. Desperate healing coming out from closer to keep that Diva alive.
All right, so Prophet's going to take out Bishu, so now they're going to start to get some more players in the fight here, the Spitfire. They may be able to catch the Gladiators here as Bishu's coming off the spawn.
Danger zone for Prophet, he just walks straight in. It's a shocking reception that Remix just gave him. You can't block the Tesla gun. Perhaps he wasn't expecting the Winston to be around the corner, but the element of surprise again paying dividends for the Gladiators. Now Jester though trying to come forward here. He's trying to get rid of Remix, who does go down on EMP. Use on most of the Spitfire roster though. The Gladiators need to capitalize now, and they've done so. Beautiful stuff from Shore4. Gets himself a quick brace of kills, but the Spitfire are recovering. They're getting numbers back in the fight. Jester and Huggerpun are back. They still have high ground control. Shore4's going to try and head for the hills, but he's just got a great boot from Big Goose. Fantastic peel for the DPS, who they desperately need in this fight.
Shore4 did use his tap visor there, was not able to get much for it. It'll be a self-destruct that comes in from Huyal taking out Shore4. It's going to force Remix to pop that Primal Rage, trying to stay on the point here for the Gladiators. Does not look good though. It's going to be the first tick there going in favor of the Spitfire. It's going to be Prophet taking another kill, earning himself the Dragon Blade. It looks like the Gladiators will back up. They'll give point A to the Spitfire.
There's definitely a sense that the Spitfire kind of thrived in that chaotic environment over on that first point. Also worth noting that Closer was able to use the Valkyrie, get 2 quick reses up for the Spitfire, which was something that was not available to the Gladiators in that instance. They weren't running the Mercy if I'm not mistaken. So again, the numbers advantage makes such a big difference. First picks in fights often decide them, and the fact that Spitfire can negate early picks is a huge boon to them on the attacking side.
The Gesture Pub and Primal Rage, they're putting a lot of pressure here on the Gladiators. Prophet just kind of poking here, just trying to figure out when he could use this Dragon Blade. Shore4 will take out Gesture, so he'll move back to the payload here for the Spitfire. It's going to be a self-destruct plus a sound barrier here that comes in from the Gladiators. Bishu's able to get one, but did you really need the sound barrier there? You know, you throw that self-destruct in over the top, you're pushing the other team back. You would have liked that support ult here where the Dragon Blade comes through, but a nice boot there from Prophet. chasing down players, not able to get much of anything.
He just got completely trolled by Big Goose there. Again, as Genji, if you use your free dash after pulling out the Dragon Blade and get booted back, you actually have no way of closing the gap until that cooldown is finished. However, the Spitfire pure weight of numbers here has been enough to overwhelm the Gladiators, but very good stuff from Los Angeles. They've managed to buy a lot of time on this stage of the map. Now the reses are coming through because the Spitfire know that they need to be very quick about this. They require the expediency. They don't have time to wait for reinforcements and spawn in. They need to get the second checkpoint, and they need it now.
And you could contest this here for the Gladiators. You do have Primal Rage. Shaz does have the Transcendence. I think the Spitfire fully expect the push to come through, and Remix gets there at the final seconds.
Hureg's in a good position for a tactical visor, but Shawfall's Deadeye is actually going to keep his head down for the time being. Transcendence there for Shaz, that's going to time out just as Hureg gets his tactical visor in. A lot of damage coming through. Bishu gets desuited there, but that's all Hureg has found for the time being. Now as well, a Primal Rage Winston just jumped back past, and that was Remix trying to interrupt him somewhat, but it's just the one kill for the Gladiators in that fight, despite an extensive investment of ultimates, and the checkpoint comes up as the Gladiators are forced back, and now the Spitfire want to chase to try and stagger. But losing a couple players there, losing Hureg there might make this a little bit harder.
Prophet takes out Shaz there towards the end, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer, get that Zen back in the mix. Now you see Big Goose switch over towards that Mercy. We can take a look.
Oh, he reflected
the pulse bomb onto the car. I actually didn't catch that when we were watching from the third-person POV. Here's the first person of the Dragon Blade. It's 2 kills, reflected pulse bomb. No, at that moment, I was actually watching it, and it looked like the Gladiators were moving off the cart, right? It's actually a pretty fortunate why, right? If they would have jumped on, it would have died to their own reflected pulse bomb.
They zoned themselves off with that one, Matt. It's pretty unfortunate. Now we're going to see Huggerpin in a position to try and get as much damage as he can, playing separate from his team, but playing quite far forward. That's going to hurt in the morning, though. It's a 4-man self-destruct from Wuyao. The Gladiators had nowhere to run or to hide to try and take cover from the nuclear fallout that was forthcoming. That's really going to make it hard for them to defend here.
Oh yeah, this is not looking good for the Gladiators. The side of the Spitfire, they have the Valkyrie, they have the Transcendence here. It'll be Bishu getting onto the cart. There comes the Transcendence in from the Spitfire.
Now it's going to be 1 by 1. Remix is the second to trickle out after Bishu gets desuited. This is going to force the use of the Transcendence from Shaz. This could actually be something here. Gesture goes down, quickly raised up, but Booyah gets desuited, so the hit scan pressure from Shawfall is going to be more impactful in the next few seconds. Asher quickly having to get back, does get a Harmony Orb from Shaz, and then he's going to jump back into the fight. Gesture falling again after getting raised. It's another raise, the second time that Winston's been brought back from the dead in this particular fight. Huggerpin doesn't have his Transcendence anymore. It was used earlier on, but here's Prophet with a Dragon Blade. Bishu gets desuited straight into the keen edge of that Dragon Blade, and now it's a simple matter of chasing Shawfall down. Bishu brought back. There's a lot of value in getting a Diva on her feet. I don't know if Bishu was able to resuit, though. It looks like he has. He's back on the payload, and the stall is very good. There's time being bought here by the Gladiators, and the Spitfire are getting frustrated. They need to push to the end of the map. They need to get this done now, but they have less of a time bank than the Gladiators as it is, and Shawfall gets back there, drops a Biotic field down for some extra staying power, but that will be it. 2 minutes and 19 seconds for the Spitfire. They're behind by about 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Still, a lot of time from both teams, right? It was just a really, offensive strong map from both sides. So you saw Prophet's Genji really go off there on the offensive side for the Spitfire. It'll be interesting to see here, Mitch, as we go, into the overtime phase of this game, whether we see either team to switch up their original comps.
I did not find Prophet's Genji very compelling on that first point take. I mean, in all fairness, the first attack, we saw the sneaky ambush that was put together by the Gladiators, which was a lot of fun. It did ultimately result in the Gladiators being a man down without a mercy. So it's like, if you want to play that kind of style, it's fine to do that.
It's really scrappy.
Against the mercy comp, like, it's very, very hard to actually make that damage stick properly. This is that self-destruct here. Yeah, there's nowhere to go. 4 different angles people were felled from.
Just perfect positioning on that self-destruct. Booyah, that's the second time. Remember the last one where he got both supports with the self-destruct? That time, he ends up getting 4 players with it. Be the Gladiators on defense here to kick things off. And you already see, Big Goose, he's going to play the Mercy. You're going to have Shaz on the Zen, so not going to have that Sombra-Lucio combination. I feel like you can use that kind of trick play where you get up real close one time. This time, the Spitfire definitely going to check that.
I'm glad they switched back to the Mercy here as well, because again, those first picks that they were getting against the side of London Spitfire didn't mean much at all, because they just got rezzed up instantly. Now at least the Gladiators can also sort of cover over any mistakes. It's like a Band-Aid that you can apply if someone just gets a little bit too far forward. Very standard composition for the Gladiators, in my opinion, and we'll see. have Wuyao come forward. Yeah, 20% of his Wuyao's damage being from the ultimate is actually considerable. Nicely done now. It's going to be both the front line trying to jump in, but they actually realized that the majority of the Gladiators are set up on the right side high ground, so that might have been slightly ill-informed to push in the way that they did. But now Wuyao and Jester are trying to work with each other, but they're dealing with a heck of a lot of enemies. We can't even see the rest of the Spitfire on screen. They might be a little bit behind, but Hagapoo gets taken down by Asher, and already that's half the healing gone.
Yeah, no, both tanks for the Spitfire. They jump onto that left-hand side high ground. Everybody for the Gladiators playing up on the top right. It's going to be Asher on the Tracer getting behind, getting some picks. Wuyao here, he gets D-maxed.
He's going for a long walk off a short ledge. I'll give you the big tip. Right, so the only loss for the Gladiators in that particular fight was Bishu. Now, Bishu didn't even... He actually jumped off the edge to get his mech back faster. The only thing that was killed was his mech in general. This is the first pick, I think, from Asher in this fight. No, a little bit later on in the piece, but he's found profit. This guy is proving to be such a huge resource, a huge pickup for the side of Los Angeles Gladiators. Let's see what more he can show us now, as he's getting close to a pulse bomb.
And it takes the Tracer duties away from Surefour, but allows Surefour to play, you know, the 76, the McCree, the Widowmaker heroes he's very talented as. Be remix jumping on Wuyao, they'll get a D-mech here, so now the Spitfire may need to kind of, you know, regroup, but they only have 50 seconds left, not a ton of time.
This has been nice damage to the Los Angeles Gladiators. The focus fire has been good. You notice they got that D-suit early on Wuyao, and there, look, he's been hung around in Infinity before. Now the res comes in there, so hopefully he can get back into his mech and go, because Hurek has a tactical visor here. Transcendence, though, is coming out in response, so Hurek's going to hold on to this for a little while. Both of the Gladiator supports have actually used their ultimates, and both are vulnerable now to attack visor to be used after the fact. Hurek has to be patient, and it looks like he's done with being patient. Remix trying to get away here, but he's discorded and taken down by the attack visor. In the meantime, it was Gesture to get rid of Surefour and Big Goose to fall. It was a matter of old economy, and some would say it's a matter of time, but the Spitfire take the first point with hardly 10 seconds left.
It may have been a miscommunication there from the Gladiators because they popped Valkyrie and Transcendence at the same time. Maybe they thought, like, you know, a more aggressive push was coming in from the Spitfire, but you had Shaz on the point, who was using his Transcendence. You had Big Goose up in the sky with a Valkyrie. They really didn't get a lot of great use out of those support ults. Then the attack visor comes through from Hurek. They're able to take that point A.
Okay, so there's a lot of zoning potential in a self-destruct for Bishu here. If there's no sort of bubble put down by Gesture, that's one approach it could take. But it's likely the Pulse Bomb here is going to be trying to use. That's actually forced to Transcendence. That's quite big. The Gladiators can actually just disengage for a little bit or try and follow up with a self-destruct here. They stayed on the payload the whole time, though. Impressive work for Spitfire to know how to manage the explosion from that Diva ultimate. But now Bishu's pushing forward. He's trying to shove them off the payload here. There needs to be follow-up damage from the backline of the Gladiators to supplement this kind of aggression, and that's good. The Transcendence is there. Guess who used this earlier on to no effect? It was a Spitfire. Good stopping power there. And now the goalposts have been set for the Gladiators. They know how far they need to get to finish this map and, in fact, to win it. And there's a lot of confidence. It feels good coming in knowing that.
They have a ton of time to do it. 3 minutes and 39 seconds on the clock for the Gladiators. Potentially sending this series to a tiebreaker map, which I don't think a lot of people would have predicted coming into today.
2-2 would be quite the interesting result. I mean, I don't really subscribe to the concept of upsets here early on in the Overwatch League because it's a matter of complete speculation. But
so many teams feeling out, you know, their roster, right? Who works well together, what kind of comps they can run, you know, what they can't do against certain teams and other teams. So I think it's a lot of just kind of, you know, it's like boxing, right? Where both guys in the middle of the ring are just like dancing around each other. Or whether it's a Floyd Mayweather fight for the first 14 rounds, he's just like dancing around, just trying to feel the other guy out. I feel like there's a lot of that going on in the preseason.
And a lot of things that teams don't really have fully nailed down, or stuff that's going to change drastically by the time Season 1 of the Overwatch League does kick off, but they're going to go back for the triple DPS here. So Shaz is going to be on that Genji once again, and the Spitfire now need to hope not to get burst out. So perhaps to spread out a little bit more might be their option. They were all very much caught underneath the bulk of Remix as he hit the ground on that Winston, and then Shaz just had to dash through a couple times to clean him up.
Wuyao trying to get some damage down here at the beginning. Also see a little bit of what the side of the LA Gladiators is going to run. See if Shaz can get as fortunate as he did in their first offensive attack, just dashing through 3 players up top. So you see the Gladiators just feeling out here. They're going to try and push for this right-hand high ground again. Now as Shaz gets a better view on where the Spitfire are setting up, they may not want to do that.
Now, I like this point contest, though. They're doing it from a point where there's not much line of sight available. And Short 4 finds Hagapun early on in the fight. So that long-range healing now not going to be a factor at all. Remix did drop, but it was well worth it. Bishu finds Gesture. He gets the D-suit on Wuyal. And, of course, now getting D-suited himself, they're going to bring Remix back into the fight. Really nice dive. For a team that's not been together very long, they made that look like they didn't have to think about it.
Well, look, you have two tank players who have been playing together for a while. Same with the supports. You get those guys on the same page, and then the DPS, you just kind of fill in the slots. Now the Gladiators, they have some time here. Look at this. Sharp is actually going to go over to the Bastion. They're going to set him on the cart.
We've seen it plenty of times before, and also because the Spitfire died so late in that fight, they're quite a long way away from getting here, and some of them are spawning even further back. Look how far back they are. They've got to run and sprint to try and get to this point. Otherwise, there's going to be a tiebreaker map in this series. They've got to get there. There's 2 minutes left, and yeah, it's going to be 2 meters, should I say, just to jump onto the point. And Short 4 bringing the thunder, my friend. He's going to now lay in with some of the damage, and the Bastion definitely delivers on its promise to leave carnage in his wake. Profit is down, no tracer presence, so no stall potential on the payload. Short 4, again, cello in a marching band is my favorite way of putting the Bastion play, and Short 4 just has to move and set up. It's just that simple. The man who said that at any occasion, any opportunity, he'll go for the Bastion, will go for that pick. Overtime, a tiebreaker map is what we're going to be seeing in this series.
Yeah, it'll be the Los Angeles Gladiators who take that map. A nice switch there at the end from Sharp4 to go over to the Bastion. Knows that the spawners are so far away from London, can right up on the cart.